China, a land of ancient history and breathtaking landscapes. Now, a global superpower, its rise has been meteoric, from an impoverished nation to an economic powerhouse. China's transformation has captivated the world, but behind the glittering facades, a different story is unfolding, a story of ambition and power. The world watches with a mix of awe and apprehension. Whispers of this plan have been circulating for years among intelligence agencies and academic circles. A plan so audacious it seems almost unthinkable. Could China truly be planning to dominate the world? The evidence is mounting. China's actions speak louder than words. Its aggressive economic policies and military expansionism, its growing influence in developing nations, all point towards a grand strategy, a strategy with global domination at its core. To ignore the signs is to invite disaster. The world has been lulled into a false sense of security, blinded by China's economic success. The countdown has already begun. The world stands at a crossroads. On one path lies cooperation and mutual prosperity. On the other, conflict and chaos. Will we stand idly by as China reshapes the world in its image? Or will we rise to the challenge? The dragon has awakened. The future of the world depends on it. China's economic rise has been nothing short of breathtaking, a relentless machine, churning out goods and services at an unprecedented rate. It has flooded the global market with its products, often undercutting competitors with prices that seem impossible to match. This is not free trade, it's economic warfare. The West, lulled into complacency by decades of economic dominance, has been caught off guard. Our industries have struggled to compete. Our jobs have been outsourced. Our economies have stagnated. All the while, China has grown stronger, its coffers overflowing with the spoils of this economic war. But China's ambitions go far beyond merely becoming the world's factory. One of China's most potent weapons in this economic war is its currency, the yuan. By artificially depressing its value, China makes its exports cheaper and more competitive. This has given Chinese companies a significant edge in the global marketplace. But it has come at a cost. This currency manipulation has distorted global trade and led to accusations of unfair competition. The United States, in particular, has been vocal in its criticism of China's currency practices. But so far, these protests have fallen on deaf ears. Another insidious tactic employed by China is debt trap diplomacy. It has lured developing countries into taking on massive loans for infrastructure projects. When these countries struggle to repay their debts, China seizes control of valuable assets and gains political leverage. China's insatiable appetite for raw materials is no secret. To fuel its economic engine, it needs a constant supply of oil, gas, minerals, and other resources. And it is willing to go to great lengths to secure them, even if it means exploiting vulnerable nations and fueling conflict. Across the globe, from Africa to Latin America to Southeast Asia, China has been striking deals to lock up access to vital resources. It has invested heavily in mining and energy projects, forged strategic partnerships with resource-rich nations, and used its economic clout to pressure governments into accepting its terms. Critics accuse Beijing of neo-colonialism, arguing that it is simply replacing Western powers as the primary exploiter of developing nations. They point to the environmental degradation and human rights abuses that often accompany China's resource extraction projects. China's hunger for resources is insatiable, and it is willing to pay any price to feed it. China's economic influence extends far beyond its borders. Its Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure project spanning continents, is a testament to its global ambitions. Through this initiative, China is investing trillions of dollars in building roads, railways, ports, and other infrastructure projects around the world. On the surface, the Belt and Road Initiative appears to be a benign development program, a way to connect nations, boost trade, and promote economic growth. But beneath the veneer of goodwill lies a more calculating agenda. China is using the Belt and Road Initiative to expand its influence, project its power, and reshape the global order to its liking. It is creating a network of dependent nations, bound to China through debt and economic ties. The allure of Chinese investment is undeniable, but the potential consequences are severe. China's economic might is undeniable, but it is merely one facet of a much larger strategy. A strategy that encompasses geopolitics, military power, and technological dominance. A strategy designed to achieve one ultimate goal: global supremacy. As China's economic influence spreads, so too does its shadow. A shadow that now falls across continents. Nowhere is this shadow more apparent than in Asia, China's own backyard. For centuries, China has viewed itself as the Middle Kingdom, the center of the universe, and it is now asserting its dominance over its neighbors with renewed vigor. From the East China Sea to the Himalayas, China is flexing its muscles. The world watches with bated breath as China's shadow grows longer. Central to China's geopolitical ambitions is the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, a massive infrastructure project that spans continents and aims to connect China to the rest of the world through a network of roads, railways, ports, and other infrastructure projects. Hailed by Beijing as a modern-day Silk Road, the BRI is a testament to China's ambition and its long-term vision. But beneath the surface of this seemingly benign development project lies a more calculated agenda. China is using the BRI to project its power, expand its influence, and reshape the global order to its liking. It is investing trillions of dollars in countries across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, securing access to vital resources, establishing strategic footholds, and binding nations to China through a web of debt and economic dependence. The BRI is not simply about building infrastructure, it is about building a new world order. One of the most concerning aspects of China's geopolitical strategy is its use of debt trap diplomacy. Through the BRI, China has been extending massive loans to developing countries for infrastructure projects, loans that often come with strings attached. When these countries struggle to repay their debts, China swoops in, demanding concessions and seizing control of valuable assets. This predatory lending practice has been widely criticized as a form of economic imperialism, trapping countries in a cycle of debt and dependence and undermining their sovereignty. Sri Lanka's Hambantota port is a prime example of this tactic. Unable to repay its debts to China, Sri Lanka was forced to lease the port to a Chinese state-owned company for 99 years, effectively handing over control of a strategic asset to Beijing. This pattern is being repeated across the developing world. Section 4. Checkmate. Encircling the globe with strategic partnerships. China's geopolitical ambitions extend far beyond its immediate neighborhood. It is actively cultivating relationships with countries around the world, forging strategic partnerships, securing alliances, and building a network of influence that spans the globe. From Latin America to Africa to the Middle East, China is making its presence felt. One of China's key objectives is to weaken the United States' global network of alliances. It is doing this by offering an alternative model of international relations, one based on mutual benefit, non-interference in domestic affairs, and a rejection of Western values and norms. This message has resonated with some leaders in the developing world who are disillusioned with the West and eager for a new partner. As China's network of partnerships expands, it is gradually shifting the balance of power in its favor. Section 1. The Dragon's Highway, a road to domination, the Belt and Road Initiative. Even the name evokes images of ancient caravans, laden with silk and spices, traversing vast distances to connect East and West. Today, China seeks to revive this ancient network, but with a decidedly 21st century twist. This is not your ancestors' Silk Road, this is the Dragon's Highway. Imagine a web of infrastructure, spanning continents, all leading back to Beijing. High-speed rail lines connecting China to Europe, pipelines carrying oil and gas from Central Asia, ports and highways facilitating trade on an unprecedented scale. This is the vision of the Belt and Road Initiative, a project so ambitious, so audacious, that it could reshape the geopolitical landscape for decades to come. But scratch beneath the surface, and a more complex picture emerges. Paving the path to hegemony, the economic underpinnings. The sheer scale of the BRI is staggering. Trillions of dollars in investment, spanning over 70 countries, and encompassing everything from energy pipelines to fiber optic cables. This is not just a foreign aid program. This is a strategic reshaping of the global economy, with China at its center. China is acutely aware that economic power translates into geopolitical leverage. By bankrolling these infrastructure projects, it is securing access to vital resources, opening up new markets for its goods, and creating a network of dependent economies reliant on Chinese investment and trade. This economic largesse comes at a price. From promises to pitfalls, the perils of partnership. The Belt and Road Initiative has not been without its critics. Concerns have been raised about the environmental impact of these mega projects, the lack of transparency in bidding processes, and the potential for corruption and exploitation. But perhaps the most pressing concern is the erosion of sovereignty that often accompanies BRI partnerships. As countries become increasingly indebted to China, they risk losing control of their own economic destinies. The promise of economic development often comes at the cost of political autonomy. But the world island China's Eurasian endgame. To understand China's ambitions, one must grasp the grand strategic vision underpinning the BRI. It's about establishing China as the dominant power in the Eurasian landmass. Geopolitical theorist Halford Mackinder posited that control of Eurasia is key to global dominance. China, with the BRI, is making a calculated bid for this prize. By building interconnected infrastructure, China is creating a new sphere of influence. The BRI represents a fundamental shift in the geopolitical landscape. Pause 7S. The digital dragon waging war in the shadows. While the Belt and Road Initiative grabs headlines with its physical infrastructure, a quieter, more insidious aspect of China's strategy is unfolding in the digital realm. This is the realm of cyber warfare, artificial intelligence, and mass surveillance, where the battle lines are blurred and the weapons are invisible to the naked eye. China understands that 21st century dominance is not just about controlling territory, it's about controlling information. It's about shaping narratives, manipulating perceptions, and weaponizing data on a scale never seen before. And in this new digital battleground, China is emerging as a formidable force. This is not the stuff of science fiction. It's happening right now. Chinese hackers, many believed to be state-sponsored, have been implicated in massive data breaches, targeting governments, corporations, and research institutions around the world. Their goal to steal intellectual property, gather sensitive information, and gain a strategic advantage in the digital domain. But cyber espionage is just the tip of the iceberg. China is also developing sophisticated cyber weapons, capable of disrupting critical infrastructure, crippling communication networks, and sowing chaos in the event of a conflict. This is the new face of warfare, and the world is ill-prepared for its consequences. Pause 7S from factories to algorithms. China's AI ascendancy. China's ambitions extend far beyond simply mastering the tools of cyber warfare. It seeks to become the world leader in artificial intelligence, a technology with the potential to revolutionize every aspect of human life. From self-driving cars to personalized medicine, from financial markets to military strategy, the applications of AI are virtually limitless. And China is investing heavily to make this vision a reality. Billions of dollars are pouring into AI research and development, attracting the brightest minds from around the world. The goal to create a new generation of intelligent machines capable of outthinking, outmaneuvering, and ultimately outcompeting any adversary. This is not just about economic competitiveness, it's about national security. China sees AI as the key to achieving military superiority, developing autonomous weapons systems, drone swarms, and predictive algorithms that could give it a decisive edge on the battlefield. The implications are chilling. Imagine a world where wars are fought not by soldiers but by algorithms, where decisions about life and death are made by machines operating at lightning speed beyond human control. This is the future China is building, a future where the dragon's power is amplified by the cold, calculating logic of artificial intelligence. The rise of the surveillance state. China's embrace of mass surveillance is perhaps its most dystopian aspect. Using facial recognition, AI, and a vast network of cameras, China is building an unprecedented surveillance state. Citizens are constantly monitored by cameras equipped with facial recognition technology. Their movements are tracked, conversations recorded, and online activities scrutinized. This data feeds into a central database, creating detailed profiles of individuals. It's about social control, not just catching criminals. China's social credit system assigns scores based on behavior. Compliant citizens are rewarded, dissenters face penalties. This is the chilling reality of life in Xi Jinping's China. The architects of tomorrow, China's technocratic elite. Behind China's technological drive stands a new generation of technocrats groomed to lead the digital revolution. These are the architects of China's future, entrusted with the nation's destiny. Products of prestigious universities trained in AI, quantum computing, and robotics. Their education includes political maneuvering, blending technology with ideology. They use technology for social engineering, shaping behavior, and cementing the party's power. They embody China's ambition and belief in its destiny. They are the future, arriving faster than anyone imagined. A new breed of power broker, the fusion of technology and politics. In the West, technology and politics are distinct. But in China, these lines are increasingly blurred. The rise of technocrats signals a new era where technological prowess is inseparable from political power. China uses technology to strengthen its grip on society. Facial recognition tracks dissidents and monitors citizens. AI censors online content and suppresses dissent. China's model risks creating a world where surveillance is the norm and individual liberty is sacrificed. The stakes have never been higher. The time to act is now. The clock is ticking, a world on the brink. The year 2024 is no longer some distant future. It is upon us. The clock is ticking, and the world stands at a crossroads. On one path lies cooperation, a future where China's rise benefits all nations. On the other, a descent into darkness. A world where the dragon's shadow consumes all in its path. The evidence is overwhelming. China's ambitions are not mere speculation. They are etched in steel and silicon, woven into the very fabric of its global strategy. The Belt and Road Initiative, the relentless pursuit of technological dominance, the chilling rise of the surveillance state, these are not isolated incidents. They are pieces of a much larger puzzle. The world has a choice to make. We can continue to ignore the warning signs, clinging to the hope that China's rise will be peaceful and mutually beneficial. Or we can face reality. We can acknowledge the threat, expose the truth, and rally the forces of freedom to meet this challenge head on. The time for complacency is over. The future of our world, our freedom, our very way of life hangs in the balance. The dragon is at the gate. What will be our response? The Dragon's Shadow, a call to action. The challenges we face are daunting, but not insurmountable. The dragon's shadow may be long, but it cannot extinguish the flame of freedom. Now is the time for action. First, we must educate ourselves, understand the threat and the stakes involved, see through the propaganda. Knowledge is power. Second, we must unite. The challenges transcend borders and divides. This is a struggle for humanity. Stand together to defend our values. Finally, we must act. Demand transparency and accountability. Support those exposing the truth. Hold China accountable. Prepare for the challenges ahead. The dragon is formidable, but not invincible. Together we can resist its shadow and build a brighter future. The time to act is now. Subscribe to Intrigue Ideology TV for more content. Thanks for watching.